What happens when you put two culture critics from national television, one Latino and one Black, in front of a microphone? You get the Brown and Black Podcast.
Hey everyone, I'm Jack Rico.
And I'm Mike Sargent.
And in a time where voices of color are mostly absent from the media,
Brown and Black intends to speak candidly about the controversial issues that affect us.
we also have some great guests on the show. I mean, we've had John Leguizamo, George Lopez,
Spike Lee, Harvey Mason Jr.
But not only that, Mike, we're really all about breaking down race in pop culture so that our creators of color can be on the screen.
Brown and Black is about the intersection between race and pop culture. We're just waiting for you to listen.
Listen to Brown and Black on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Pandora, or wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. Everybody knows the holidays can be a time of great joy and togetherness with the food, parties, and family. But they can also be a time that causes us to feel anxiety, stress, or even depression. And let's face it, having your tía tell you que cambies la cara during dinner doesn't exactly help. What you need, and maybe your tía también, is a gift to yourself, the ability to speak with a professional about your experiences. Enter BetterHelp. A customized online therapy provider, BetterHelp offers therapy options that align with your time via phone, video, text, or even live chat sessions with a certified therapist. BetterHelp's customized approach matches you with a therapist in under 48 hours based on your needs and creating the opportunity to help you better understand yourself. And as a special offer for Pero Let Me Tell You listeners, you can get 10% off your first month of professional therapy at betterhelp.com/pero. It's already more affordable than in-person therapy, and now you can save on your first month. There's even a gifting option if you'd like to help someone you care about understand the benefits of therapy in their life. We should all have a happy holiday season, and BetterHelp has helped millions take the first step in that path. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/pero. Thanks again to BetterHelp for sponsoring this podcast and this episode. Hey everyone, this is DJ.
And this is Ish.
And this is Season 5 of Pero Let Me Tell You.
Episode this is, right?
There's no place like home. When your family around you, you're never alone. When you...
Honey.
Welcome to episode 227,
yes,
everybody.
If you couldn't guess it from the theme
of Pero Let Me Tell You. We made it to Friday.
Yes.
And we made it to episode 227.
Yes, we did.
So,
ladies and
welcome,
gentlemen,
everybody.
Jack Hay. No. Can you imagine?
I'm sure,
we could figure it out.
We could figure it out. And I'm sure that Jack K has some Latin in her.
Yeah. She, if nothing else, you'd get her on and she'd be like, ooh, child, I love salsa. Like, she'd be like, Mary.
So, welcome everybody to episode 227 again. Pero let me tell you, how are you all?
Well, I think everybody's good because it's Friday and we're getting close to Halloween.
We are. So, now that we're talking about 227, the show, and listeners, for those of you who don't know 227, maybe our younger...
That's true.
Our younger audience. Because I feel that 227 was on syndication in the 90s, but then it kind of went away.
It was one of those brief syndications.
But I feel that 227 is one of those shows that, like, it's on the DL in the sense that...
I feel like people know it. They just don't know they know it.
It's not like Friends that Friends is always on, where everybody loves Raymond. It's always on.
Yeah.
And everybody watches
I Love Lucy.
Right,
yeah.
right. But I feel 227 is a little bit more incognito, like it's a little more DL. But for those of you who don't know, so 227 was a show. It ran from like the mid 80s to the early 90s, and it was about an apartment building, 227, and it was filled with,
wacky characters,
and it was a predominantly African American cast, and it was just what I really liked about 227 it was that they were really a regular family, like
blue collar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I really like that Mary and Jenkins and Lester were like a typical like blue collar family. It was also like the starting vehicle for Regina King.
Yes, that's true. I still think of her as Brenda.
I still think of her as Brenda. And for those of you who haven't checked it out, it's on Hulu, it's on Amazon Prime.
Yeah.
Check it out. It is hilarious. The late great Helen Martin was on it. Which
When you're done watching that, watch her interview with Conan O'Brien.
which she's great with like one-liners. And then of course Jackie Harry.
I mean, if you want, proof of God's existence is Jack A. Harry.
And you know what's been happening to me recently with 227 is that there's all these shows I want to watch, right? I haven't watched Ted Lasso and I want to watch it.
So much fun.
I haven't watched The House of Dragon. I haven't watched, I mean, there's just so much that I want to watch that I haven't, that I'm like, fuck, I need to watch this. But what I'll do is I'll just put on 227.
You put on Comfort TV. I've been doing the same thing, especially since the pandemic.
Yeah, with 227
Yep.
or just in general?
In general, but a lot of older sitcoms, like your 227s. When I found out It's a Living was on on Amazon.
Because I feel that with 227 and that type of sitcom, you could, I need to go to the bathroom. You could go to the bathroom, do your thing, and come back.
You're not gonna miss much.
Even though you missed 10 minutes, you still pick up right where you left off.
The beauty of older sitcoms.
Yeah, I was actually watching an episode this week, the one where they were going to go to Hawaii. That was like, oh yeah, Lester and Mary are doing pretty good. That they're going to Hawaii.
He owned a construction company, so contractors do well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not well
And in
enough to
DC.
move out of a 2-bedroom apartment building in DC, but
But well enough to go to Hawaii.
Right.
Yeah.
I was watching that episode that then they get snowed in
That's
and
right.
whatever. Then I saw the episode where Sandra was going to get married
Yeah.
to the teacher.
Yeah.
So, yeah. That show is just, it's a riot. With that said, like most shows, I like season second
the
and a
middle.
half and on.
To 4.
Right. Because in the first season, Sandra's character was not as fully developed.
Right.
So even her pitch was a little different.
Yeah. She sounded more like Jack Hay and not Sandra.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. She was more like Mary, not Mary.
Yeah. But this was also back in the day when they gave sitcoms time.
Right.
To find their voice and to establish the character.
I feel it was like by the middle of the second season that she had become what she became, So then, by the third season, she was on helium and her hair was huge.
Helium.
And, and it was great.
And it was Sandra Clark.
Yeah. I loved how, what's his name? Brenda's boyfriend. Calvin. I love how Calvin... Whoever was the producer of that show must have really liked Calvin. You know what I say that? Because Calvin didn't do much in the entire show.
No,
but somehow they kept him.
They just need another teenager for her to play off of. And by economy of characters, if it's a boy, then they can date.
Right. If that would have been Family Matters, we know what would have happened.
Oh, no. He'd still be upstairs.
Yeah. Poor Judy Winslow.
Poor Judy.
Yeah, Judy went up, but never came down.
Never came back down those steps.
She took that Wizard of Oz big balloon in the sky.
Yeah. Oh, that sounds like she died.
Well,
Oh, no.
So watch 227,
Yes,
people.
watch 227. So before we get into all of our topics, I want to do a little, Pero Let Me Tell You corner. So first of all, I want to give a huge thanks to the Rum Cake Lady. I know you posted on our Instagram, but I just finished polishing off the majority of the pumpkin spice mini cake that she sent you for your birthday. It was so damn good.
So
It was so moist.
I've
so
had
delicious.
I
Thank you,
had a
Liz.
piece of that one. I had the limoncello one, which was amazing.
Oh, the limoncello one's
Somehow it tastes like fresh lemons from Italy. I'm not sure how she was able to pull that off.
Not from the Blue Ridge Mountains
No,
of Georgia.
from Italy.
Okay.
And the salted caramel one was great. The one that I'm really saving myself for is the golden one.
It's the original. Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
yeah.
So you heard it here first.
So I haven't
guys.
had that one yet, but the other three. So thank you again.
Darian only saves himself for Rum Cake Lady and Junior. That's it.
Thank you again. It was very, very sweet of you to send us that package.
Yeah. And if you're ever in downtown Blue Ridge, Georgia, guys, go. It's a little haven of cubanity to steal a little bit from Martha Darby within the middle of the mountains, and it's the food is so good. And un cafecito ahí con frito, it's so good. I'm just gonna say it. I love them. Speaking of food, this Saturday, October 29th, we're gonna be at Unseen Creatures doing Bim Pam Pollo.
Yes.
So come out, try the guayaba queso, the santero, the Korean spicy wings, our sandwiches, and at Unseen Creatures this Saturday, because it's Halloween, they're gonna have a costume contest. They're gonna have live music. So we're not gonna be dressed because
we're gonna be dressed up as cooks,
right? Because most costumes are flammable, and maybe it's not the best thing to wear them near grease.
Near a fryer, yeah.
Right? Maybe as a rule.
Yeah.
But hope to see you guys all there. And also, tickets are already on sale for Croqueta Palooza, where we will also be. We will be as Bim Pam Pollo, but we'll also be there as Pero. Let me tell you, I guess
Yeah.
if you're there, just tickets are already on sale, guys. As you know, I don't know how much they are, but it's all you can eat.
I've told we've said this
it's a
before
bargain.
here.
It's a bargain.
It's not because we love us some
Right.
Burger Beast and Marcela. This is really Croqueta Palooza is really one of the best events we have in Miami, and it really is very unique to Miami. There's not another Croqueta Palooza anywhere else, and you really get your money's worth. You want to talk about a bang for a buck?
Yes.
Because it's all you can eat. All you can drink.
Yeah.
The entertainment is
There's
always...
desserts.
There's desserts, yeah. The entertainment is always great there. People are dancing. It's a really good event. So, if you're thinking about going, get your tickets because it does sell out.
Yep. We're going to be giving away 2 tickets eventually, but closer.
And I have to tell you that there's a little part of me that's a little bummed. This is sort of like how my cake last week.
Yes.
I was happy I got my cake, but also unhappy that they got it right.
Right.
There's a part of me that's a little bummed because on the one hand, I'm very sort of honored that we were asked to have Ping Pam Pollo be featured in Croqueta Palooza, and I can't wait for people to try it. On the other hand, I'm kind of like, I'm gonna miss out on going around and stuffing my face with 20 croquetas.
But you know what? I like to think that our Pero Primos at the event will bring us some croquetas from other places.
They better, because we're gonna have to get there early. We have to set up. We have to start the frying. We have to do. So we have a lot of work to do.
By the time you guys show up at 7, we've been there for 3 hours.
And I feel we've been to Croqueta Palooza already enough times that we sort of have a method. We start off slow, then we take a break, then we go finish off, then we go back to the places we really liked, then we go back to the places we really liked again.
At the midway point, I have un cafecito.
Then we go back to the places we really liked again. Last year, the croqueta from Masa. From I think Masa.
Masa Craft?
Yes, that it was actually a vegan croqueta.
Oh, that's right.
The mushroom one?
The mushroom one was so good.
It was amazing.
Oh my god.
Again,
magic.
Yes.
Magic.
I'm how did you do this?
Yeah. I think they're going to be there again this year.
And what was it, 2-3 years ago? Our friends at the Croqueta won Croqueta Palooza for their Medianoche sandwich.
When it premiered.
Medianoche Croqueta. And I don't care what anybody says. They get a Medianoche sandwich. They put it in a blender. They blend that up. They put
They fry
panko,
it.
And they fry it and call it a day. Because
there's no other way.
When I'm telling you, when I have the Medianoche sandwich, Medianoche Croqueta from Dos Croquetas, I feel like Violet in Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Right before Violet turns into a blueberry, she's like, a pot roast for dinner, and now come the mashed potatoes, blueberry pie.
But it's evidenced by the fact you keep referring to the croqueta as the Medianoche sandwich.
Because when I have that croqueta, I'm like, the mustard. Now I taste the pickle.
Yep.
Now I taste
the sweet
ham,
bread.
I'm like, how do they do that?
You heard it here first. Vicky and Alec are magicians. They're wizards, really.
Wizards.
They went to Hogwarts.
Yeah.
Clearly.
They went to the croqueta making part of Hogwarts that didn't make the movie.
Because Hogwarts is racist.
Yes.
And they didn't want to show Latinos.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm sure there's a Latin Hogwarts
Chico, can
somewhere.
you imagine Dumbledore eating una croqueta?
For some reason, the first thing I thought of was that it gets caught in his beard. All the crumbs.
Yes.
It's just not cute.
Oh, can you imagine? What is this?
Well, actually, you know what? They do have a French academy that comes in, so they've had a croquette.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah,
Not the same, but they've had a croquette. Yep. So I wanted one last thing. I just wanted to say thank you to the Adrian Arsh Center. This past week, we got invited. Unfortunately, you couldn't go see Six, the musical. Mm-hmm. And I am so sad that you didn't go.
Is this about the life of Tina Von Oy?
Yes, that's exactly what it is.
Okay,
and,
you have to admit, that was proactively funny.
That was proactively funny, and you'd be surprised how little part Blossom had in it. Yeah, that was great. It took me a second to get it. I'm picturing just her face with the hat. Like 6, the musical. No, it's for those of you who don't know, it is a musical about the 6 wives of Henry VIII. But I totally thought of you. You would have loved it. You would have absolutely loved it. It is not a musical. It's a concert.
Oh, okay.
It is literally the Spice Girls giving you history.
I told you, whenever they would pop up on my Instagram feed, I'm like, for like a split second, I'm like, they look like the Spice Girls.
Especially because of the corona that Jerry wore at the Istanbul concert, right? So it's an hour and a half. They do not stop. Like, they literally, they're like a girl group that's singing, and each one of them sings their story, but each one of them is also a different musical genre. So one of the girls is like Beyonce style, another one's Britney style, another one's like Avril pop punk style, another one is Adele style. So it's just fantastically done. If you guys get a chance to see it, whether here, Broadway, wherever you're at. But thank you so much, Arsh Center, for the invite. It was phenomenal.
Awesome.
The next time that you and I are together, like in New York or something, we're gonna go see it because
that's in New York?
It's currently on Broadway. Yeah,
Cool.
You would love it.
Cool.
Like, it makes me a little sad you didn't go.
Yeah, I know, but I've been really busy right now in the world of politics.
Yes.
We have a little midterm election.
That thing.
And I'm, I've been meeting with a lot of people and doing a lot of things, and I'm happy to
You've been
do
very
my part.
active.
I've been very active now. So, anyway, bueno, what do you have this week?
Well, speaking of
now that our,
now that our
bulletin board is over.
Our bulletin board is over. So, speaking of politics, I kind of wanted to bring something up that happened this week-ish, I guess. The guy who got attacked in Hialeah.
Yes.
And so, for those of you who don't know, there was a man who was attacked in Hialeah. He was wearing a
Michael Rubio shirt.
He was wearing a Rubio shirt, and he was handing out DeSantis flyers, right?
I don't know about the flyers, but he was definitely, from what I know, he was canvassing for Michael Rubio.
Okay. So, the guy gets beat up in Hialeah. Now, for those of you who haven't been paying attention for 227 plus episodes, Hialeah is not exactly known as the leftist, progressive, blue area of Miami by any stretch of the imagination. So, almost immediately when it came out that he had gotten beaten up and he was wearing all of the, the Rubio merch or whatever, it became, Marco Rubio took to Twitter like, oh, this is a political attack, political violence. But now we're finding out that may not be the case, which, again, from the beginning, I was kind of like, I don't think so. If it had happened anywhere but Hialeah, I would have been like, maybe. But it's looking now more and more likely like it was literally just a quote unquote Hialeah type incident.
Right, that they had a fight.
It's just, turns out it's 3 people because the guy was attacked by 2 people. And actually one of them sicked his dogs on someone. But it also made me think a little bit, funny enough, watch how my mind went. Do you remember, I think it was last year's Wilton Manor's Pride? Or the year before, I don't remember. Yeah, it was last year. That there was an incident where a car, plowed into a crowd of people,
right. And everybody thought it was gay bashing.
The immediate response from like your Danielle Levin Cavas, and everybody's like, oh, this hate crime, we can't tolerate it. And it turns out that it was just somebody from the gay men's chorus who lost control of his car.
Yeah.
Right. And it just led me to think, like, in this world of, again, we've talked about it a lot, this immediate need that everybody has to get out and have a voice and talk about things. We are so quick to jump the gun without having literally any information based on circumstances that we are applying onto a situation, And again, like now the one of the guy's mother, who was one of the attacker's mothers, coming out and saying like, my son's not political, he doesn't care, I left him in jail, but so
there's more to that story.
But I don't think any of it has to do with politics.
The moment I heard that story, and look, I'm not gonna go on here and say, oh, I know what it is. I really don't know what it is.
No, we don't know yet.
But the moment I heard that,
and
story,
I appreciate the police saying that they are still investigating.
The moment I heard that story, I'm like, there's something here that we don't know. First of all, there's never a reason for that type of violence.
Absolutely.
Never. So let's just get that out of the way.
Right.
Whatever it was, those 2 guys were arrested. They did beat him up. They threw the dogs out on him. Yeah. Right? There's
2 German Shepherds.
There's no excuse for that. There's no room for that. So if they did do that, which it appears that they did allegedly, they should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, whatever that is, right? There's no room for that at all, right? But in terms of the story at hand, the way that they initially thought, oh, this poor canvasser, I've
as a canvasser,
as somebody who directs canvassers, who has canvas groups, who's been in some of the, as a liberal and a Democrat, has been in some of the most red, conservative Republican areas, that I've had to have my team of canvassers. I've had to warn them. I've had to tell them what they need to do. I've had to give them protocol. I know how these things are, and I know how difficult it could be.
And you also know Hialeah.
And I know Hialeah. I know Hialeah as good as you could know Hialeah without ever actually having lived there. Right. But I've had my place of business. I had my place of business there for over 10 years, so I know it very well. And I currently still do work in Hialeah. And in Hialeah, you may have your person that throws the tira la puerta en la cara, or you may have like vete de aquí type thing, or no, hablo contigo, type thing. But in terms of like violence,
they're more grosero.
Not really. And the kid who got beat up, he has a history of marching with the Confederate flag. In fact, there's video of him online that has surfaced where he was at that whole tiki torch thing 2 years ago, where the car rammed through the spec. That was not an accident. That wasn't an accident. He was there with the Confederate flag, with the whole "you will never."
Yeah, all of the coverage makes it a point to say he has a history of white supremacy.
He has a history of white supremacy. So the reason I bring that up, because clearly he had a Maaarrryyyyy shirt, and by no stretch of the imagination am I saying that Maaarrryyyyy is a white supremacist. So calm down, people who are thinking that. But his history is important insofar that you're talking about somebody who has been an activist and has been on the side of very controversial, I'm putting it lightly, stances. So this is something he's familiar with. So if they had this situation, there's something there that there's something there more. I don't know what it is. Maybe one told the other, go fuck you, and he's like, fuck you.
And the other one may have been a little drunk.
And it went down from there.
Yeah.
But like the whole story of like, the part that I don't buy is the whole like, oh, here are these two raging mad liberal Democrats sitting there, and they're past this innocent little guy canvassing with a Maaarrryyyyy shirt, and they're like, let's go beat him up.
Right.
Again, that's not to defend the other two guys. The other guys should be prosecuted to the full extent of the law, and there's no room for what they did.
But that just seems out of place in Hialeah.
But yes.
That's that. If it had happened in the Gables, if it had happened, literally anywhere but Hialeah, I would be more inclined to believe it.
That was the first thing when I heard that. I was like, I did a what?
I was like, in Hialeah?
Like,
yeah.
So no, there's something there more, and we'll hear about it more. Maybe it was just, again, la gente son guapa, la gente,
You catch somebody on a bad day.
You catch somebody on a bad day. But what I'm saying is, the way that some people are making it sound is that they were preying on him.
Right. They were just lying in wait.
Yes. There he is. Let's go get him.
Right.
I doubt that's the case.
Right.
That's not defending them. Let's make it very clear.
Or,
that's not defending them.
Or if it was, maybe it was because he did something as stupid as, say, get the fuck out of my way earlier, and they held a grudge. But to come back, I don't believe this was political.
Right.
I think that if the guy,
maybe it didn't start political, but it turned political.
Well, but it was turned political by outside forces.
Right, but farting is political now, So
you and your Marxist farts.
Transitioning to something very controversial.
Okay.
So, ¿qué me dices tú a mí?
Oh Lord.
That all these people that are throwing food at works of art. Did you hear
There's more?
latest? Well, which one do you know?
The sunflowers.
By Monet.
Correct.
That they threw the soup.
Right. Which is a waste of a perfectly good soup.
No. There's more. I'm sorry, the flowers was Van Gogh. They
Yes,
threw the lata de tomate Van Gogh. No, esta semana they threw.
Which, if you're an art major, you're like, why is Andy Warhol
They
so pissed?
threw a tub de puré de papa to a Monet painting.
Okay, what is their point? What is the
And then they glue
what do
themselves
want?
to.
What do they
So,
want?
okay, but here's the thing. And this is why I want to ask you, since
Calculating.
you're the marketing person, right? This has made news around the world, hence we're talking about it here.
Right.
News, it's been all over the news, and a lot of the coverage has been negative. Like, what are they doing?
Right.
Why do they need to do that?
Like, what's the point, right?
What's the point? Like, you could have that message,
Right.
but in a different way. But aren't they, in essence, getting what they want?
Well, they're getting your attention.
Getting your attention.
Oh no, absolutely. I mean, yeah, because especially again in this day and age of the instant, notices and the instant everything, it's not gonna have the same impact to just stand in front of something and start saying, we want blah blah blah, we want, you'll get coverage.
Right.
Pero
tú
it'll be gone.
Un bote de country cock lleno de puré de papa to a Monet building, a Monet painting.
That's true.
And then they put crazy glue in their hands and they glue themselves to the wall.
Okay, that's just gonna hurt later.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's just on you.
Right.
What, are these also protesting climate change?
Yes. So I see it around the same way of like people that they don't do that as much anymore, but would throw paint at women wearing fur. I'm very like against fur. Like, what the fuck? Like there's really good imitations out there, people. Like,
Fine.
right? But I also don't think that you should go up to somebody and throw paint at them.
I would have loved for like any of those people to just turn around and start beating the shit out of the people who threw the paint.
If that ever happened to my assistant Esther, I want to be there with
Me too.
because you know her. I want to be there with a camera.
Me too. Because I will live my oh fuck no fantasy through her in that moment.
She will take off the hood and she's like, it's on.
She'll be like,
quita los tacones.
me voy a quitar este, pero el próximo que me pongas is gonna be made out of your skin, bitch.
Yeah. I just think, look, I mean, obviously in this particular case, I'm one of these people, and to a certain extent you are, I'm totally for
Drawing attention to things, right?
green agendas. Like, we need to do things to, regarding climate change. This is like a really, really serious problem that I still think that most people are not paying attention to. Like most people,
not to the degree that
I
we-
was
that
the
we
other
probably
day.
should.
The other day, where was I? I was at the store. And there was some guy, hablando bien alto, ¿no? Porque eso de, tú sabes, eso del clima, esa es mierda que hablan la gente, eso es todo invento. And I'm like, oh no. But like him,
A lot of people.
there's still
Across
a lot of
the
people
world.
who don't believe it,
Yeah.
don't believe it. So yes, obviously it's something that you need to bring attention to, but
But what does the painting have to do with any of it? Like, why
Well, I don't think
are
it's
you
so much-
not going to like a factory?
well,
that's
but I
emitting...
think it's not so much the painting. I think it's exactly that. Is that throwing something at a painting that is so important and so famous is gonna get the coverage it got.
Yeah, but as you said earlier, as a marketing person, here's my suggestion: you're losing the message because you're trying to draw a connection between two things that don't go together.
I know, but I just think they're trying to get attention, and that's why I tell you: are they being? I
mean,
think
they're being successful, yes, but it's not like I'm not going to remember why they threw it. I'm going to remember that they threw it. You know what I mean? Because there's no connection between the action and the call to action.
Yeah, I mean, I
That was your marketing 101, kids.
I've never. I mean, I'm not the only person who has said this. A lot of people have said this, especially here in Florida. People aren't going to take climate change seriously until it starts affecting their pocket.
Well, that's like everything.
Until it doesn't start affecting your property values.
Yes.
Until you can't get insured by anyone.
Which we're heading there.
Until those things don't start to happen, people are going to be like, whatever.
That's a tomorrow problem.
That's tomorrow problem. No, that'll be the case in 30 years. Oh,
Right, I'll be dead by then.
Years. Oh, or I'll be dead by then. No, but or not. Well, no, we have plenty of time to deal with it.
Right.
And it is a problem.
It's just kicking the can down the street.
It is a problem.
So
How's everybody's drive?
I think everybody's drive is pretty okay.
What is everybody doing for Thanksgiving? For
Thanksgiving?
Thanksgiving, for Halloween.
Well, I'm sure some of our listeners are probably listening to us right now on their way down to the Keys for Fantasy Fest.
That's not where I was going with that, but
Well, but Fantasy Fest it's a Halloween tradition, so it's happening, and it's not that far from Miami, so it stands to reason.
Do you think so? No, I think our listeners right now are on their way to work, dressed up.
Oh, okay. Well, that's Monday, not Friday, right?
Well, but no, maybe the ones who listen to us on Monday.
Okay, that's fair.
It's a very important time of year again.
To rotate my tires?
No, Chico.
Is it time to start holiday shopping already?
No, man. It's time to make our voices count by voting in the midterm elections.
Oh, that very important time of year.
Yeah, that's right. Election Day is Tuesday, November 8th, which is actually right around the corner.
Yeah, and Flick.vote has gathered all the information you need in one spot.
Like the fact that you need to request your vote by mail ballot no later than October 29th.
Or that early voting starts the last week of October in several parts of Florida.
And early voting ends November 6th, all leading up to the big election on Tuesday, November 8th.
So look, we know there's lots of information out there, but Flick.vote has all this information you need in one spot.
They even have a Voting 101 video detailing what you need to know about voting in Florida, just in case you're curious about any of the recent changes. So visit flick.vote, that's FLIC.vote today, and cast your vote this election day, November 8th, to ensure the voices being heard reflect the diversity that is Florida. All right, everyone. Today we are with a very, very special guest who's going to talk to us about one of the most important, if not the most important right we have as Americans, and that is voting. And today we have David Metellus, who is the Director of Policy for Flick.vote, or Flick. So thank you so much. Welcome to Pero Let Me Tell You, David.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's great to be here.
So, as I said, you're the Director of Policy. So, for our listeners, tell us a little bit about Flick and where you are right now in terms of the midterm elections.
Sure. So, Flick, the Florida Immigrant Coalition, what that stands for, FLIC. Flick is a statewide coalition. We have about 50 members right now, and over 100 different allies. It was formed in 1998 and sort of incorporated in 2004. And so what we are a member organization. It includes grassroots, community organizations, farm workers, youth advocates, attorneys, all sorts of different people. And these are people who care about immigrants. They care about immigrant rights. And a lot of those folks that I was talking about when we talk about farm workers, a lot of the farm workers who are working in our state right now, they're immigrants. They're people on H-2A visas, people on F-1 visas, some of them with TPS. And so our work is around advocating for those people, as well as as they seek to get legal status, as they seek to become American citizens. We do citizenship clinics, citizenship drives, TPS clinics as well, where we support people in helping them get those forms filled out if they qualify for waivers, support them in getting those sorts of things. And so we're really sort of a hub for people in the immigrant community in Florida to be able to get access to different resources, whether it comes to economic or just supporting them getting civically engaged.
That's awesome, because there's nothing better than, when you're new to a country and everything is so different and, it's not your first language, than to have that proper guidance, whether it's through an organization or even somebody that that could properly guide you and navigate through the system, which could be very complicated. Now, what, specifically, as you said, to Florida, what are some of the challenges or what are some of the more common issues that rise up with the different immigrant communities that maybe don't in other areas?
So there are different challenges. Like I said, a lot of folks here, they're farm workers. So there are the challenges around the farm workers finding out what different resources are available to them when they have their visa, because some of their work is tied to their housing. Housing is tied to their employment. And so when different things come across, like a hurricane, we recently had Hurricane Ian, we know that some of the areas in Southwest Florida and Central Florida, they experience flooding, and the farmlands experience flooding. And so now those people no longer have work. And so how exactly are they going to progress in our society? How are they going to continue trying to better their life if they no longer have work, and the work is tied to their housing, and the work is tied to all these different things around their status of even being quote unquote legal of legal status in the country. And so those are different challenges that immigrants face in this country. We also have challenges with folks getting access to public resources. They need some form of ID. And so one of the things that we work with is community IDs. We try to get community IDs in different localities. Municipalities, they basically issue an ID, and with that ID you're able to get access to different resources, attend school, and different things like that. So those are challenges that the immigrant community experiences, and just not knowing what resources are available to you. Language justice is a big thing that we work on, translation, and making sure that we have our materials available to people in different languages, and even our meetings that we have on Zoom, we're able to incorporate with technology, interpretation, so that everybody can get access to the information.
Right. That's so important, because I say this all the time. Sometimes in our everyday lives, whatever it may be, we speak the language. We were raised in the United States. We know, we understand the system, and it's still so difficult to navigate through some different areas. Again, if you don't have that basis, whether it's an organization like Flick or some type of grassroots initiative, it becomes almost impossible. So that's such important work that Flick is doing. Now, we had briefly talked about in a previous post that we had done, now, as you know, is a midterm elections coming up November 8th. And, we talked a little bit about Flick insofar as like a source of information. And I know the organization has what they call Voting 101, I believe. Tell us a little bit about the services that Flick is providing to educate people regarding the election and voting.
Yeah, certainly. So what we have is we have our organization Flick, which is our 501c3, and we also have our advocacy organization, which is called Flick Votes, where we do a lot of that advocacy during the election. And so what we actually have right now, we have a website that is flic.vote. VOTE, where we have all of that information, where we provide information for people how to return their vote by mail ballot. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Return their vote by mail ballot, where they can find their early vote location. When you're in Florida, you can vote at any early vote location within your county. And so we provide those different early vote locations. And then on election day, there is information for you to find your polling location as well. And then the same thing, we have videos on the website for people to be able to visually see it. And we have it in different languages. We have it in English, Spanish, and Creole. And so, yeah, that is so important for us, because like you said, we come to this country, we're from the country, and we know it, but you imagine a tia from Argentina or a mommy from Haiti who comes over, who doesn't necessarily know it, but they want to get involved, they want to learn. And so we make sure that we have those resources available for everybody who wants.
Awesome. That's so important, especially now with, so many changes to election requirements and, IDs and where do you vote, and it could be very confusing, and changing these rules as they have recently doesn't make it any easier. What, before we let you go, what do you find are the more common questions or inquiries that people are having with either early voting or voting? Is it IDs? Is it locations?
So like you said, the rules change a lot. With Hurricane Ian, there's an emergency order where some of the counties in that area, they have different rules. Early voting goes all the way up to the 7th for them, where for the rest of Florida, it ends on the 6th. And then there are actually different ways for them to request their vote by mail ballot to get to them if their house was destroyed, or they can change the address. And so there are lots of different rules and lots of different, like you said, things that are out there for people. And so it's about just getting the proper information to people and them know, how is it that they can actually vote. Because when you look back at the previous elections, you go to 2020, 2018, 2016, all these different midterms, what we see a lot of vote by mail ballots that get invalidated. We see about 30 vote by mail ballots that get invalidated that are equal to the margin of victory. And so those things like signing the outside of your vote by mail ballot, not putting an X, right? We see a lot of times people get excited and they put a little heart next to the person that they're voting for.
That's not an X.
Yeah, that means it's not valid. You have to bubble in the circle like the SAT, stay within, and don't do any extraneous marks can make your
This is not the moment to get creative. I'm really glad you said that, because I think that, a lot of times, and this happens in every election, and this has always happened, that people become a little bit complacent and they don't get out to vote because they think, well, other people will vote for my interest or my candidate. But as you said, the last several election cycles, the margin has been so small, just so small, that it really, a handful of people can make the difference in the outcome of an election. And I think that people really need to understand that they really do need to get out and vote. Thank you so much for being on the show with us, David, today. This is it's such an important topic and such an important work. And what I love about what Flick is doing is that, and this is what I think is so important about advocacy, this organization is just not around during elections. Yes, you're doing great work during election cycles, but you're also putting in the work with the other end of your organization, with the immigrant community and advocacy and education, and that's so important. So I can't thank you enough for the work that you and this wonderful organization do. It really is so important. So thank you for sharing with us what the hard work that you guys put in.
Thank you so much. And like you said, our work isn't over in November. We're getting ready for the lame duck session. Legislative session starts in committee week starts in January, and then we're going to be back to it there. So the work is always going, and all our elections have consequences. Everything we've been dealing with for the past 4 years are a result of the election that we had before. And so we have a clear understanding of what folks want to do. And so if you support or if you don't support it, make your voice heard.
If our listeners want to find out a little bit more about Flick, tell us where they can find you.
So if you want to learn more information about the Florida Immigrant Coalition, you could visit us at flic.org. That is our main website. And if you want to learn more information about voting, you can visit our voting website, flic.vote. That's flick.vote.
Awesome.
And thank you so much for the opportunity.
No problem. There you go, listeners. You heard it straight from the source. Go out and vote. Flick.vote specifically if you want to know information and specifics about what you need to have with you the day you vote and where you go vote and at what time you go vote. All that information is there. So there's no excuses. So thank you so much, David. Let me tell you. Do you... So here comes all my parents' jokes. Oh. So my mom is one of the most square people there is. She just is. I love her.
In a loving way.
In a loving way. So, but my mom is like really into Halloween.
If we could get your mother to celebrate Halloween at a car show.
So my mom used to, like, she worked in a bank until she retired. And she used to get so excited about Halloween. But the thing about her is that she never had a clear costume. She just had like oddities. Like, for example, she would get one of those glasses that have like a lot of
like
aumento.
Glitter. Oh, okay, like the Coke bottle glasses.
Yes.
Okay.
And then she'd put on ugly teeth, and then put on a long wig and a bandana, and then put on like a crazy dress. And I'm like, I'm not sure what this is, but
I feel like your mother was dressed as American Horror Story Coven before it was a thing.
Maybe.
She inspired Ryan Murphy.
Yes. And I'll never forget. I mean, I guess this would be a little bit out of touch now. I'll never forget in the mid-90s when Pocahontas came out that year, she dressed up as Pocahontas.
Your mother was Pocahontas? Really?
Yeah, yes, because she bought the costume at Publix. And, now that probably wouldn't be the most appropriate thing.
Okay, but
back then, the branding of the movie and all that in the 90s.
In all fairness, like, she didn't go out and, like, bronze her skin.
No.
She just put on the dress.
It was, like, the beige little dress.
Right.
With, like, the long wig.
Right.
And I'm like, you would be the last person I would ever think was into Halloween. Like, she
Has she ever told you, like, why she's so into it?
I don't know. But then again, my mom has those moments, because I could recall many years ago when I had a really big party at my house, my parents' house. Remember?
Yeah.
Remember that you were helping me set up the backyard?
Of course I remember.
You remember my mom's mood that day? My mom was like the life of the party.
Your mother was like about to go MC.
Yeah. So my mom, like, she gets really into Halloween. Like, there was another year that she dressed up like she was supposed to dress up as like the Bride of Frankenstein.
Okay.
And she was kind of going the right way about it, that she put like powder in her face. Okay, here's the thing. She wasn't dressing up as the Bride of Frankenstein. She, in her mind, had the Bride of Frankenstein in that iconic image of her in her mind. She doesn't even know that's a Bride of Frankenstein.
She didn't know that's what it was.
Right. She just knows of that image. Ella no sabe que esa es la esposa de Bride Frankenstein. Whatever. She was kind of going with that image.
Okay, the vibe.
So ella tenía un ropón viejo that was gray, and she kind of lightened her skin with like powder but then the wig was totally off because she had like a red Jessica Rabbit wig. So because it was like the wig that she had, so I was like, this isn't going the right direction. But somehow,
you know what? It was the Bride of Frankenstein after she got divorced.
Right, but somehow, would you imagine if my mom 1 year dressed up as Jessica Rabbit?
I am gonna make this my mission in life right now, and I'm gonna take her dressed like that to the auto show. Yeah, we should make that the Nary and Nary, extravaganza. He'll go as Roger Rabbit. She can go as Jessica Rabbit.
Don't you love that it's sort of gone viral this year? The fake Spirit of Halloween stuff.
Things.
We need to make a Gowana one.
I know. I've been racking my head. I'm trying to think of what to do, but I feel like I can't come up with anything like clever.
Señora en la ventanita. Includes la guayabera. Includes la tacita con la cuchara.
Espumita not included.
Espumita not included. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
Spirit of Halloween.
Done. Spirit of Halloween. There you go. You got it.
And it doesn't include the attitude face.
No. That's on you.
That has to be purchased separately.
That has to be lived. That attitude face doesn't come in a store. No. It's funny because I've seen those now, but I've seen some where it's like some people are doing it like of themselves. And I'm like, no, that's not the joke, guys. Like,
I have to tell you, you know what I thought? Me la comí. Me la comí. And I'm not Mr. Costume. I'm very unoriginal. Do you remember some years ago that we went to a Halloween party and I dressed up as my high school self? The high school version of myself?
Yes. What Halloween party was that?
It was one of our friends.
Oh, okay. I'm trying to think because I know the one that you went is Justin Bieber.
That was
at Rollies?
Yes, that I went to Justin Bieber. That everybody thought I was Perez Hilton.
Yes.
And I don't even know why, because like at that time I was like in great shape. So it wasn't even like, I was overweight and I looked like Perez. This was the Perez Hilton of the early 2000s.
But the thing is that at that time Justin Bieber was like 12. So you didn't look 12. You looked older.
I even shaved. I shaved my beard in the name of Justin Bieber.
That sounds like a really weird cult.
And I got the wig with a swoop.
Yeah, no, I remember it. It was like,
I had the blue.
It was like a windbreaker.
Purple. I had a purple hoodie. Right. And I was like, I'm Justin Bieber, and everybody thought it was like, oh, you're Perez Hilton.
You're Perez Hilton.
No, but the year we went to a party some years later that I dressed up as my high school version. And what was great was that all of you guys got it.
Well, yeah, I mean,
we
were there.
But then everybody else in the story, in the party didn't. And I'll never forget that. I think it was you that put it, because I wasn't on Instagram at the time. I think that you posted a picture of us at the party, and somebody who followed you, who saw the picture and knew us from high school, was like, is that high school Darian?
Yeah.
Because I had the Karopi shirt.
Of course.
Tucked in, which the Karopi shirt is this really bright green shirt that I have from the Gap.
You want to talk about iconic?
Mary. That for some reason, I don't think I wore it more than other shirts I wore. But it was memorable. Because it was very green. That's why we called it the Karopi shirt. So a lot of people that went to high school with me remembers that shirt. I still have it. I wore that shirt tucked in with my jeans with a braided belt. And at that time, I hadn't grown out my hair yet. So I got a wig, because in high school, I also had long hair.
Right.
I had a wig to look like my hair in high school.
That was very clever.
It was.
That was very clever.
It was high school Darian.
And it's great because it's that type of costume where it's like, if you know, you know.
Yes.
And if you don't, you can kind of go like, okay.
Yeah,
okay, great. Whatever. I mean, you dressed up, you did, but.
The other one that I heard that night which was totally off. It was totally like out of the box, but I was like, okay, I could see it. There was somebody at that party that said I looked like Will, what's his name from Boy Meets World.
Will Friedle.
Yes.
Will Friedle.
And I was like, I'll take it.
Yes, I could see that. I could see how that would be like, okay,
Yes,
you're Will
Will
Friedle.
Friedle,
Yeah.
you know, when he had his hair long.
Yeah.
And that would have been a little bit after, but not too long after
Close
in terms
enough.
of time. But yeah, that was pretty clever on my part.
It was very clever on your part.
And you know me in Halloween costumes, you know.
I've never seen anybody who professes to love Halloween as much as you do that doesn't do costumes.
Okay.
As well
So-
as
so you know what
because you genuinely love Halloween,
Okay,
and that's why I'm constantly disappointed by your.
Because you know what I was gonna dress up at last year, and then I was like, I'm gonna do it this year. I was gonna dress up as the Weeknd. I was gonna get the red
Right.
blazer. I was gonna get the gloves, the glasses. I was gonna get it all. To do what?
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so I'm dressed like Abel. Where am I going? Abasad.
Candy to the
Yeah,
neighborhood.
wouldn't it be hilarious if like on Halloween I'm dressed up as the Weeknd from After Hours and I just by myself go knocking on people's doors?
You should. I say do that shit. We'll film it. I'm dead serious right now.
And I was gonna be like bloodied.
Right, of course,
Weeknd,
yeah,
with
like
the
Halloween
broken
Horror
nose,
Nights.
the
Yeah.
broken nose and all that.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking, do I go with like the fully face like bandage that he has, or do I go with the broken nose one? I was like, I'm going with the broken nose one.
It's
And
also
I'll-
less
and
intense,
I'll even know
yeah.
how I'll put my hair, right? But I'm like, where am I gonna do that? I'm gonna go to Publix, you know? And
Yes. Yes. Do all of these things.
it'll be
Yes.
funny if like I have a doctor's appointment.
Oh my God. I hope you go for your physical like that.
I've had a rough night.
you show up for like an endoscopy.
I was in Vegas last night. It's been rough.
Just came in on the red eye. Yes, do that.
Do you know what I'm super excited about this weekend?
What?
Screw Halloween. Do
do
you know
you
what I'm
say?
doing on Sunday?
Yeah, well, I do. Yes, but tell our listeners.
I am going to go see Bay. Bay is Demi Lovato, and I am
Yes.
super excited, and I'm gonna scream, and I don't care if I'm the oldest person there. I really don't give a flying F.
Yes, that was your birthday present,
I'm
right?
going to be a what is it? A Levotic.
Is that their name?
Levotics, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yes. So I'm gonna
I
go.
thought at this point they'd just be
I'm-
called documentary filmmakers.
I'm actually really excited. I love Demi Lovato. I love Demi Lovato.
I think they know. I think they've heard you profess your love,
love
for her.
Demi. I really do. I really do. So
And you got like good seats.
yeah, I'm in like the 4th or 5th row.
Okay.
So
I just want you to know.
she might,
I
notice
just-
me.
I just want you to know that based on your Mariah experience, if you come back and you tell me that you and her had a moment, I will believe you.
Yes, yes, yes.
I will believe
So
you.
listeners, the moment he's talking about is really funny because this is the type of story that like if you tell someone else, they're not gonna believe you, right? They'll be like, yeah, whatever. Years ago, we went to go see Mariah Carey. It was a rainbow tour, and we had pretty good seats. We were in the floor. We were like maybe in the first 10 rows or something. And then, of course, during one of in between songs, I screamed. I think my voice is still echoing somewhere. And I was like, Mariah, I love you. And she looked at me
She
and I
turned.
looked at her, and we had a moment where we made eye contact
Yep.
and she acknowledged me, and I looked and it was a moment.
It happened.
It happened. But what was great was that I didn't realize that Ish was next to me and he witnessed that.
I did.
So then he was like, I saw that.
I saw that.
I saw that. I was
She
like,
knows
I saw
you
that.
exist.
And I was like, good. Because that's the type of shit that I'll go and tell somebody else.
She may not know who you are, but she knows you exist.
By the way, people, I've already seen the Mariah Carey memes everywhere of her defrosting. I just want to go on the record again that Mariah Carey has 19 number ones. 18 of those are not Christmas songs. So let's not focus on the freaking Christmas song.
Okay, but in all fairness, even she plays it up. Okay, so you know what? We're following her lead.
I know.
Okay, and she probably drinks some champagne while laughing at the memes.
Mariah Carey songs I never have to listen to. If I didn't listen to again, I wouldn't miss. Hero.
Okay.
Sorry, I broke everybody's heart.
No, I feel like anybody who lived through 9/11 feels that way.
I don't need to listen to Hero. I don't need to listen to Always Be My Baby. I don't need to
Oh,
listen
I like that song because of the video.
to Fantasy. I don't need to listen
What
to...
you got against ODB?
It's not the ODB. I just that's never been even in like the top 50 of my favorite songs of hers. I don't have to listen to All I Want for Christmas Is You. I'm good with never listening to those songs again. I'm okay.
You're okay.
I'm okay.
You're
I'm
okay. All
I'll
right.
listen to some other stuff.
All right.
Because it's like, oh my god, here we go, another concert, and she's singing Hero. It's like,
Well, that's her signature songs, you know.
whatever.
You know she's gotta.
Whatever. So. Oh yeah, speaking of Mariah,
Okay.
have we ever heard again from Celine Dion? Does she still have muscle aches?
I don't know.
Isn't that why she canceled her Vegas residency?
Is it?
Or muscle spasms?
She was having some type of medical issue, but I don't know what it was. Imagínate tú, a muscle spasm on Celine Dion con all the horse riding and everything that she does on stage, you know? I mean, she could die.
Has Celine Dion, maybe I'm drawing a blank, has she ever done Proud Mary?
She may have done Proud Mary. I'm not going to say no. But the thing is that she does River Deep Mountain High.
Right.
So
no.
that's why, I think that's why you're wondering if she's ever done Proud Mary.
Okay, she needs to do Proud Mary. Because I want to see her do that little...
Oh,
Because you know that stick is going to break.
that's a lot of limbs.
Because I could just imagine her when she's like, that's a good job in the city. Like, her being really into it.
I don't think
Can you imagine
Celine...
the facial expressions?
I don't think Celine has ever done anything less than 142% on stage.
Imagine, like...
Ever.
Seeing a Britney Spears concert and then, you know, like...
The next week?
No, seeing... a Celine Dion concert and then a Britney Spears concert, because Britney Spears is so like, and I love Britney Spears, so don't come at me, haters.
Right.
But you know, she's so like not about audience participation. Like
No,
I'm
no.
here, I'm doing my little thing.
It's about the show. Just
and
get
I'm
in, get out.
leaving,
Yeah.
right? And she's so like, why am I here? Like,
right. Especially, you know,
now we know why.
now we know why, yeah.
But and then Celine Dion is like, what is it? 142%.
142% minimum.
That's not a bad day.
That's just Celine without coffee. Like that's before she has her café au lait.
I think it's so great about her is that despite the fact that she has an amazing voice,
Right.
and she has great songs, and you know, My Heart Will Go On is one of the greatest songs, most famous songs. There's such a fandom for Celine, the caricature,
The persona.
The persona.
The persona.
right? And it's funny because like it's so not like
Because she
diva, you know, because she could definitely be. Well, she's been in divas.
Right.
She could be in that like Barbara Streisand.
That's what I was gonna say. She doesn't
Mariah Carey.
She doesn't act like an adult contemporary
Diana
songstress.
Ross diva kind
Right.
of. Echelon,
Right,
if you
right.
want to say, but she's so like. Yeah, soy una estúpida, no come mierda.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go out and have fun.
Like she's like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm a dork and I know it.
You know, that's really owning it. Like,
Yeah.
and that's good for her.
Even when she's wearing like, you know, haute couture.
Right.
She's like, I'm telling you, that video she did for Vogue, where she was walking, that's just where I rediscovered Boney M.
Yeah.
She's walking through like the kitchen and she's like, bring me the hot dog, bring me the french fries. I'm like, you know what? That's great. And she's probably wearing $1 million dress. I mean, sure.
Sure.
Just bring her the hot
sure,
dog.
Celine.
You know, get ketchup on $1 million couture gown.
Because I'm
Sure.
the greatest singer in the world.
Oh, Celine.
Oh, we miss you, Celine.
We do. I've seen her live, and let me tell you something.
I've never seen her live.
Next time she tours,
She's
We
one
should
of
go.
those people that like. I'm not so into her music. There's some Celine Dion songs that I like. There's a handful of songs of hers that I really like, but I on a general level, I'm not into like that type of music.
right?
But I would love to see her live.
Right, because you're not going for the music, you're going for Celine.
The spectacle.
The spectacle of Celine. It is everything you want.
Like, yeah, I would love to hear her sing. Like, can you imagine her like doing Oye Mi Canto?
Sadly, I can.
Because I know she did a little piece of Congo when you went to see her.
I thought she was gonna dance on stage.
Right.
Trying
But
to
that's why
do
Oye
the
Mi
dance.
Canto, because since it has Oye Mi Canto in Spanish.
Oh, right.
You know, how that would turn out.
I don't know, but you know, since she speaks French, I think she wouldn't sound as bad
Right.
as we think she would. And she sang with, you know, Andrea Bocelli in Italian. So I think she'd wing it. She'd wing it.
Oye Mi Canto. I can imagine like the movements are going to be so like striking and precise and bold.
Can you imagine if she because she's all about banter.
Yeah.
She will sit there and talk and talk and talk, and then she'll be like, "Oh, I have to sing now." You know, can you imagine if she just starts, going into like WAP?
That's great.
And hit that little thingy in the back of my throat.
Macaroni in a pot.
And you're picturing her face while she says it,
Yes.
aren't you? Yes, you are.
That's the best
That's
part.
the best part.
The
Exactly.
best part is her facial
Right.
expressions. Macaroni in a pot. And she has that kind of like, ooh.
Oh, Celine. Oh, Celine.
Can you imagine René Charles? You know, that he's like, oh, this is my mère. My mom.
Listen, he's probably got an easier life than Madonna's son.
That is true.
Because, listen, Rocco and Renee Charles can probably swap stories, and he'd be like, Renee, no matter how bad you think it may be,
Once again,
it could be worse.
If anybody that listens to us is in Madonna's management, please take away her phone. That's all we have to say.
Bury it in the yard.
Take away her phone. Take away her Instagram. That's it.
Bury the phone in the yard somewhere. Oh, Dios mío. So I wanted to bring up something. This actually happened about a week ago or so. It's this thing that went viral. And I don't know if you've heard about it. So
Thinking river deep, mountain high.
that performance was great live. Again, whatever you've seen on TV, it's amplified.
I bet.
And then all of a sudden you get the Celine fever.
Yeah.
And it just keeps building.
Right.
Because then now you're feeding off of her, and she's feeding off of you, feeding off of her.
Right. That's a lot of feeding.
That's a lot of feeding. Yes, that's more than like a vampire
I'm
colony.
hungry now.
But so I wanted to bring up a news article that I stumbled upon the other day. The headline is Gen Z TikTok user goes viral documenting abrupt exit from job interview. He says weekends are for football, not for work. So what happened was there's this 22-year-old musician on TikTok. He was interviewing, I guess it was a video interview because he had footage of it, for a part-time job, but he turned it down because it would require working on the weekends. So
I figured that he did not know that it would require working on the weekend.
I'm assuming not. So it says here, his name is Justin Ross. He says, yeah, I'm sorry, you said it was a weekend job, and the person responded yes, and then he said, yeah, that works, and then he abruptly closed out the call and ended it by saying, Red Zone comes first. He wrote in a caption referring to NFL Red Zone, which is the Sunday broadcasts all day of the NFL regular season. So it's turned into this like viral sensation. A lot of people are saying like, yeah, we shouldn't have to work weekends and blah, 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 and all this bullshit. And all I could think of was like, your entitlement is showing. Mm-hmm. Because el que tiene que zapateársela and really earn their living can't afford to be like, sorry, Sunday's for football.
Well, what does he do after the season? So can he just not work on the weekends?
Can he just get hired later? Like, right.
And usually, like, NFL at least is Sundays.
So what about Saturdays?
Right. Not so much Saturdays.
Right. Interesting. I didn't think about that angle of it, but it just really pissed me off. That and what pissed me off even more is, again, the age we live in, where people are kind of like making him this like folk hero. You know what I mean? Like yeah, bullshit. Like yeah, that's we shouldn't have to. We should be.
Okay.
Blah, blah, blah,
you know
blah.
why?
It's like,
because I have so many questions. Like, first off, did he not know that the job he was applying for required you to work on weekends? Because, like, for example, if I go apply for a job in retail. Right?
Yeah.
Oh, you're making me work on the weekends? No. Like, who doesn't know?
And it's a part-time job he was applying for. So
exactly.
Usually part-time jobs
work on weekends. Right. So it's like, really? Have you never heard that retail works on weekends?
Have you never gone into a store?
Right. Like, how do you think these? Like, do you think these are robots?
Like, right.
I mean, yeah. I think entitlement is a way to put it, because if you really needed that job, now, I am very big on the work-to-life balance, and that for me is I've lived through parts of my life where I didn't have that, because when I first started my legal career and I worked in big law, that I worked at a very big firm, I was working like 60 some 70 hours a week, which no human being should work that amount of time. So work-life balance is something that is very important, you know.
But there's also something called paying your dues.
No, that's true. That's true.
You can't walk out into the world and be like, "Hi, I'm here for the CEO
obviously,
position."
I'm totally for paying
You know?
your dues. But even if you've paid your dues, and even if you've,
Well, I've worked at agencies where I've had to be working until 2 a.m.
Right.
So, yeah.
There's people that have been in their field for years and still struggle with a work-life balance.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very important. That's very, very important for many reasons. But there's a difference between that and that entitlement of like, oh, you expect me to work on Saturdays? It's like, did you not read the job description?
Yeah. As of October 17th, when this article came out, the video had garnered nearly 500,000 views.
Well, on TikTok, that's not that much.
No, that's true. Listen, I would kill for a fraction of that.
Yeah. But no, that's stupid. That's like the whole quiet quitting thing. I think it's so ridiculous. Like, you know, if you want to quit your job, quit your job. You know what? If you want to listen, this whole deal of people like now feel so empowered that they're doing the bare minimum. You're not the first person to do this.
Yeah, you just put a name to it.
Yeah.
You just give it a name.
Yeah, or you think that, it's a thing now because you made it a thing.
Right.
Because here's the thing. People sometimes go on social media and think that they're making they're making
the
something
first.
a thing, right? Oh, we're making it. No, you're not. That's been around forever.
Yeah, we just have a name for it.
Right. There's been millions of people throughout time that go to their job and do the bare minimum. I'm sure we've all worked with people that are like, no, I get in at 9 and I'm get in at 9. I'm not getting here at 8:55.
And I take my hour.
Yes.
And I leave at 5.
Yes.
And I don't answer the phone after that.
This is not like...
Yeah, just because you put a hashtag in front of it, you didn't invent it.
That's awesome. But no, that's ridiculous.
And again, it's this, and he's 22, and he's like, it's this whole thing of like, no, because people need to be given work and respected and blah 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 whatever, and it's just like, just shut up, just get off. I know I'm sounding like the old man on the lawn, like telling the kids.
I don't think you're sounding like the old man like the lawn again.
But like, shut the fuck up.
Did you know what job you were applying for?
Right.
Because one thing is, for example, if you go apply at like, I don't know, an office job.
An accounting job, let's say.
Right. And then you find out that you're open, Saturdays and Sundays. Okay, well, I could see how you could be like, well, really? There's an office. Usually offices are not open.
Right.
But I imagine that especially for weekend jobs, it's usually listed in the job description.
It always is, yeah.
That's like, I've heard people say, oh, I will. No. Not only have I heard people say, but I've heard people on Twitter make their stance like, oh, any job that you have to apply for that requires you to have a job cover letter, you shouldn't apply to because they're redundant. Blah blah blah.
I hate cover letters, but
I hate cover letters too.
Yeah, but fine. You need a cover letter. Here's the cover letter.
Right, and cover letters. You have one cover letter, and you just change the name of the company and the date. Yeah. So it's not like you have to sit there.
Yeah.
Right. They're annoying as fuck. They really are.
Yeah.
But really, for you to have the entitlement to be like, I'm not applying to a job that like requires me to have a cover letter. It's like, pero.
Okay, well then miss out on opportunities.
It's like, pero ¿quién tú te crees que tú eres?
22-year-old entitled people.
I don't even want to say it on
age.
Well,
I'm bringing it up to 22 because the kid was 22. I'm bringing it back to the story.
I don't even want to say it on age. It's just, people. So. Anyway, all this entitlement work is making me thirsty.
It is
I have a very special last soda today.
It's true, and we do work on weekends with Pim Pam Pollo, so we're very thirsty.
Yes, we're very thirsty. Tenemos tremenda sed. Even that sounds like more dramatic in Spanish.
It's true.
Que se tengo.
So,
you go first.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna give my last soda. It's a bittersweet last soda, but it's a posthumous soda. I'm gonna give it to Leslie Jordan, who unfortunately passed away this week. He according to what they're saying, he had a medical situation while he was driving his car. He crashed into the side of a building. He died, I'm assuming instantly or very soon thereafter. But I'm giving it to him because here's somebody who was 67 years old and had always been working. He'd shown up on Will and Grace. He'd been on Hearts of Fire. He was constantly on things. But at 67, or maybe 65, because during the pandemic is really when his Instagram became viral and like a must-see moment during the pandemic. And he found success, so much later in life. And I never met him, but he always seemed like somebody who never took that for granted.
Let me ask you something about him, because I can't even pretend to know that I knew a lot about him. I did know, obviously, and I was very aware, and I saw several of his Instagram posts
right.
during the COVID, right? So yes, that I did know. I mean, it was kind of hard not to know, right? And they were great, and the timing, and they were
And he was
hilarious.
just
It was
sweet.
sort of that like light and funny, content that you needed at that time.
Yeah.
But I have to tell you that but other than that, I didn't know him from anything else.
Really?
I didn't watch Will and Grace.
Oh, that's it.
You know how I feel about Eric McCormick. No offense, Eric McCormick.
And he's Canadian.
I don't dislike Eric McCormick. I just didn't like the character of Will.
Okay.
It really, I didn't like it. That's
Okay, but that's a different story.
But then I started looking in one of the articles of like all the stuff he did, and he had done a lot. And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't know him from.
Yeah, he'd been around forever, and again, we're talking about
I'm
somebody.
sure he was probably on St. Elsewhere.
Probably if you look at it. But again, it's somebody who, at such a quote unquote later stage in life, right? Found this second life. I mean, for Christ's sakes, he even recorded a country gospel album on which he duetted with Dolly Parton.
Right.
Last year.
Yeah.
And this is,
Our national treasure.
I mean, this is the national treasure of all national treasures, especially now that Betty White is gone. She's stepped up to assume the role. And it's just inspiring, right? Yeah. That he was always his authentic self, and it just kind of shows it's never too late to go out and just
to have your third act.
Third, fourth. Don't limit yourself, because he was also under 5 feet tall.
You know what?
He was never going to be a leading man.
He was also younger than I thought.
It's because of the gray hair.
Yeah, he seemed older. No, but tenía la carita más de viejito.
Yeah, I know.
And he was only in his mid-60s?
He was 67.
It could to me somebody now that in their 60s is not.
Yeah, they're not old.
Yeah.
See, when he passed away, I was like, I tan jovencito.
Yeah. George Clooney's almost 60.
Yeah. So, it made me very sad. It hit me in a weird way. Than I thought it would be, because I don't stop to profess and say that I'm a huge Leslie Jordan fan, but it kind of hit me, somebody who is experiencing this phenomenal moment.
Cut short.
Hey, para que tú veas que, you never know what life has in store for you. So cherish every day and don't limit yourself. Always just go and try to achieve everything you can and never give up, really.
Well, now that you've sucked all the fun out of this room.
What? Well, then it's good that you're coming in, because now you get to be the light and lively.
George Clooney, 61.
Oh, wow.
That's to me what 60s are now.
Yeah.
I think of somebody that looks like that,
Yeah.
Distinguished.
Un señor.
Un señor, pero still energy, still going.
Well, because 60 is not what 60 was when we were kids.
Yeah, I know. I mean, 60s are the new 40s.
I mean, hell, Rita Moreno's 91, 92 years old.
60s are the new 40s. That's why we're in
our 20s.
We're in our early 20s. So.
No, we're 25 because we like to rent cars.
All right. So my last soda. So I'm going to give my last soda out this week to Gotti.
Oh, Gotti. Okay.
Gotti. So Gotti has a YouTube channel called Gotti y su Sazón.
I'm in.
And that's Gotti with a Y.
Okay. Well,
yes. Gotti with a Y. And listeners.
Only Gottis with a Y have Sazón.
Listeners, when you get home or if you have YouTube to your disposal now, look up Gotti y su Sazón, and you will see immediately why she gets my last soda. So she is this Cuban lady from Hialeah that she cooks. Pero ella habla bien cubano, así, bien cubano. And then she is
who she is.
She starts telling you these stories. Porque cuando mi hermano empinaba papalote, yo me fajé.
You played that one for me.
Con una chiquilla y con la mamá de una niña. Y me arrancó la blusa que me hizo Verónica. Like, it's pure, like, Cuban.
She's the anti-Martha Stewart.
Yes. We have... As I was saying with you before we were recording, I was like, we have Ina Garten, who, is always the Barefoot Contessa, who's always cooking for Jeffrey and her wonderful gay friends. Mark
and Stanley?
Mark and Stanley are coming over to dinner tonight, and I'm making them their favorite truffled risotto.
It's true.
Mark and Stanley are almost here. or like, I'm making Jeffrey's favorite scones today. Join me when I go to the fishmonger.
She goes to the fishmonger.
Or look, I have these fresh cut tulips from Holland that just came to my house here in the Hamptons. And then you have, of course, Martha Stewart.
Well,
where everything is a good thing and everything
Yes.
is perfection and,
Yes.
you know, a place for everything and everything in its place.
It's true. She's the only human that knows how to fold a fitted sheet.
Yes. And then you have, you know, Cari de Hialeah. So, listeners, you got to watch her. She is like, she's chuma, but I don't mean that in a derogatory
She's
way.
authentic.
She's not chuma. She's authentic.
Yes.
She's authentic. She is as real as it gets. And it's just like, it's funny.
Yeah.
She's really being herself. She's not filtering herself.
And she has sponsors.
She has sponsors. She has over 124,000
Yes.
subscribers on YouTube. So the woman is doing something right.
Yes, absolutely.
So I love it. And, you know, because it's one of those things that, like, you watch it and it's like, damn, this is funny and all that. But this right here is culture. Like, this is culture. And then, of course, the stuff she makes is like papa rellena.
They look good.
You know, tres leche. You know,
the-
flan de coco.
the chicharrones.
Los chicharrones de Tachi. Those are the best. So Tachi, I think, is her nephew. And he has, like, several videos of him making chicharrones in their backyard. You know, así como lo fríe. I mean, people, this is like gold. And again, we sort of laugh at it and all that, but it's culture. That really is culture.
You can't get more authentic culture.
You can't get more authentic
No.
culture than that. So,
You can't.
and I want to thank my friend.
How did you find this?
So I want to thank my friend Oliver who sent it to me, and he's like, "You have to check this out." And he would even timestamp, like, "Okay, at 23:40, you need to check out how that went down." And when I saw it, I was like, "Man, I love you. Like, thank you." I was like, "You don't understand. Like, this now has opened up a whole, like, you know."
Oh my God, she has the same name as my grandmother,
Yeah.
Caridad Fernandez.
Well, there we go.
I just found her on Insta.
Well, there we go. Of course, Caridad Fernandez, you know.
I'm gonna follow her right now. We're following her right now.
So she's just like energy, and I invite you all to take a look at her YouTube channel. It's fun. You will learn some good recipes. I mean,
It looks good.
it looks good. I mean,
Yeah.
and you want authentic Cuban food? Well, you got authentic Cuban
Mira,
food.
I would not have this paella.
Oh, but yeah, the paella looks legit. We're
And you
looking
know-
at her Instagram page.
Yeah, and you know she doesn't make you get there like 6 hours ahead.
Yes, the
Right.
paella looks.
Right.
No, los chicharrones de Tachi are my favorite. It's like,
great.
we got to meet this woman so she can invite us over to her house and we go to have los chicharrones.
Oh yeah, we're gonna have her on, but at her house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, no, she's in Kendall. It'll be no fun.
No.
Like,
No pinta lo mismo. No.
so check her out, people. And she gets my last soda.
Yep.
My last Iromber.
Oh, yeah. Homegirl definitely drinks even better.
Anyway, well, everybody, that's it for this episode. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your croqueta, your pastelito, and your cafecito. And thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Yeah, cuídense, mi gente.
Bye.
Pero Let Me Tell You is co-hosted by Darian Borges and Ismaeliano, produced by Ismaeliano, and our theme, Pero Let Me Tell You Freestyle, is composed by Michael Angelo Lomlaplex, the official gay guy. And don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes.
Imagínate que dos millennial cubanitas from the 305 got together and made un show.
That's Take It Easy, a show that celebrates and educates on all things Cuban American. I'm Frida.
And I'm Carmen. We are two BFFs who kept getting told, ustedes son un show.
We decided to make one. Take It Easy.
TEIKIRISI.
We explore the Cubanity
Y amamos tremenda bachanga. New episodes are out every other Wednesday.
on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Take it easy!